Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's another starting 11 prediction, this time for tomorrow's trip to Tynecastle to face Hearts. And at long last, we come in to this game off the back of a really positive win where we've scored lots of goals and we've absolutely obliterated a team. That hasn't happened very often this season at all, but I think there's lots of positives to take from Wednesday night. I said after the game at Motherwell, we just wanted something to build on. We've got to take it a game at a time. Find our way to get through these last 10, 11 games. And I think Wednesday's got to be a huge confidence boost for the players, a huge shot in the arm for everybody. I think you can look at it and go, well, it was only Dundee. They performed poorly in the night, but the age-old debate that Martin always talks about, was it the team that won playing really well or the team that got beat performing really badly? Maybe a bit of both, but for us this season, we've made heavy work of games against a lot worse teams than Dundee. And I think the positive attacking play, getting the ball forward much more quickly, the fullbacks taking on the wingers, early crosses into the box, and obviously the goals to be 6-0 up at half-time, and obviously the reaction at half-time as well. The reaction at half-time was probably the highlight of the night. There's been so much negativity surrounding the reaction of the supporters after the poor performances this season, even at half-time in some games as well. But that just goes to show that when we see the players putting in a performance like that, we're right there with them and we'll be roaring them on. The players putting in a level of performance like that, that's the thing that gets the crowd up, that's the thing that gets the crowd behind them, and you could see that on Wednesday night. So lots of positives again, just looking for something to build on, and hopefully we can go and build on it more tomorrow at Tynecastle. A tough game, notoriously, for us. Hearts have been in good form. We've made reference to the fact on the channel in recent weeks that over the last 16, 17 games, certainly before Wednesday, they were ahead of us. I think 4 points better off after the last 17 games going into Wednesday's round of fixtures. They have, however, had a heavy defeat at Ibrox last weekend, and then I don't think performed very well in the Edinburgh Derby, where they drew one each with Hibs on Wednesday at Tynecastle. So it's obviously another massively important game for us. They're all as big as each other with 10 games to go. And there's maybe one or two areas of the team where we've got injury concerns. But before we get to the starting 11, I need to mention the news yesterday that Mark Lawwell has resigned as head of recruitment at Celtic. And lead first team scout Joe Dudgeon has also left, or they're on a period of gardening leave before leaving. I think that had to be the outcome. It was the only way we could move forward after the two transfer windows, which in my opinion, we've covered it in great depth in the channel throughout the course of this season. In my opinion, the summer transfer window and the January transfer window were abject failures in different ways. We brought in a lot of players in the summer. Most of them weren't good enough and they haven't made the grade. And then we had January, which was an unacceptably low amount of transfer business. And the flagship signing for January, £3.5 million, Nicholas Kuhn. Probably the less said about him at this stage, the better. Doesn't look like he was what we needed. Isn't in the position, doesn't have the quality to come in and improve the team immediately. Okay, he's maybe only 4 or 5 appearances, but he doesn't look cut out to come in and play and deal with the pressure of playing for Celtic. And I think the long list of players, even if you go back to some of the transfer windows towards the end of Postecoglou's time at the club, the recruitment was getting diminishingly poor. They had to go, and I think now the only thing that I want to say on it is that Celtic have to go and get the absolute best person they can find, the best person they can afford to lead the club in that department. I think the relevant qualifications are: have you done it before at a similar club like Celtic? Do you have a track record? Whether we go down director of football role, I don't know. That's something that we've talked about for a long time, and it's never really materialised. I think a more modern football structure would help us. Whether that's the route we're going to go down, I'm not sure. But if it is to be another head of recruitment, it's got to be the best, most qualified person for that role that Celtic can find. We've got to aim high, we've got to be ambitious, and we've got to recruit properly, do an exhaustive process, get the best person you can find, and hopefully move forward in the summer in a much more positive light in terms of recruitment than we've had throughout the course of this season. Now then, back to the football, and we'll get to the starting 11. We'll start in goals as we always do, with Joe Hart. Thankfully, the other night, not too much to do. Really disappointed to lose that goal though. I mean, it seems meaningless in a game where you're up 7-0, but I really want us to tidy up. I've been saying it all season. We've conceded too many goals and we're conceding too many chances. I'd have liked to see a clean sheet the other night, but it was the only blotch on an otherwise really, really good performance. So Joe Hart in goals, back four, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales and Taylor. I thought a big difference the other night was the fullbacks. Johnston getting forward with an assist, Greg Taylor getting an assist and a goal. A really good cross for Matt O'Reilly's header for Taylor, and then he arrives late in the box to finish for 5 or 6 yards out after I think it's maybe even Johnston's cross that gets deflected over to the back post. Really positive for the fullbacks. Again, something we haven't done enough this season, getting the fullbacks involved higher up the pitch, overlapping the wide player, connections with the wide players like Yang and Johnston on the right-hand side. I think it was really, really encouraging, that performance for the fullbacks, really encouraging across the pitch, but just good to see that positivity. And again, Carter Vickers being back helps everybody, calms everybody down, and I suppose good that we got in a position in the game where we were comfortable enough to take him off. Obviously we lose the goal after that, predictably, but Carter Vickers is a huge boost for us, and we are just managing his fitness, because he's obviously had a lot of injuries this season, and we need to be careful going into these last 10 games because we can't afford to lose him again. In midfield, I've got a feeling Callum McGregor's going to miss out, so I'm going to Wata, Bernardo and O'Reilly. McGregor obviously coming off at half time. I thought it was just to rest him, and I suppose that is the case, but Brendan Rodgers confirming that he's got this sort of Achilles problem and tightness in his calf that he seems to get recurring at this time of the year. That seems to me like it's off the back of playing 60 odd games a season for the best part of 10 years, and I just don't know if we should risk him, because if he's going to go into this game and aggravate the injury, that could put us in a much, much worse position. Awata's been playing well. It's up to Bernardo if this is to be the setup to come in and perform. But we got something much closer to the real Matt O'Reilly on Wednesday as well. Really positive, scored a good goal, involved creatively, and a much, much better performance than he's had so far since the turn of the year. So I'm going with that in midfield. Hopefully Awata can bring us that solidity defensively to allow the front 5 or 6 to go and play with the freedom and the speed that they did the other night. So that's the midfield three I'm going with, and I'm not making any changes in terms of what I think Brendan Rodgers will do in the front three. That's Yang, Maeda and Ida. Really positive performance from all three of them. Yang particularly picked up the sponsor man of the match. Really positive, driving his full back. The question that I had last week or in the build up to the Dundee game was, can he do it from the start? Can he make that positive influence from the start, because he's underwhelmed in the starts that he's had so far this season. Obviously we know that he's developing, he's took his time, but I think Wednesday was a really, really good step forward for him. But again, if he's to start tomorrow, a really big game for Celtic away at Tynecastle, a tough place to go and play. Can he sustain it? Can he be consistent? That's the only question mark, but a really, really good performance the other night. And even Dyson Maeda, a really good finish. I seen that still, where you can see the fans behind him just as he takes the shot, and there's a few shocked faces as it's flying into the bottom corner. They weren't the only ones. That sums Maeda up. A really brilliant finish. You see him do something like that and you think, why can you not just have that output more consistently? Because what a player he would be. But through the middle as well, Adam Ida, brilliant. I'm really, really surprised, I suppose, with the output for Ida. Again, a really strong header. He's a commanding presence through the middle, and I think he's a really willing runner as well. Obviously, that's what you get from Kyogo: lots of movement, lots of pressing. But I think Ida's got that to his game as well. He made a few really unselfish runs, running into the channels, working hard for the team. But as I say, getting those early crosses in, he's a constant threat. He's really strong. And we've seen it in the last 2 games. His heading ability is really, really good. So up against the centre halves for Hearts tomorrow, you know that he's going to give them a torrid time, and he's going to be able to battle with them physically. I think that team, obviously losing McGregor would be a blow for us, but that team is as close as we can get to Wednesday. And as I say, we've just got to try and pick up from where we left off on Wednesday night, and really try and put a run of wins together. The difference from going into half time at Fir Park to where we are now is much, much better. We've got to go and consolidate that and build on it with a good 3 points tomorrow at a difficult venue. And then we go forward, and obviously we've got the Scottish Cup tie to come, and then St Johnstone at home. But it's just about taking a game at a time and trying to put a strong run of wins together as we head in towards these big games before the split. That's 11 I think the manager will go with tomorrow. You can let me know who you think will start in the comments below. We'll see you at Tynecastle tomorrow with full-time reaction wherever you're watching the game. Enjoy it. Thank you.